welcome to this week's episode, our little macabre friends. It's a little confusing because initially we intended this to be a bonus, and then, thanks to some technical issues and my lovely co-host losing her voice, we had to make this a regular episode. So enjoy your abbreviated mini macabre episode this week. And next week, we'll be back with another full-length treat for you guys. As always, thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the show. Legend has it that Chicago sausage magnate Adolph Luetgert killed his wife and disposed of her by grinding it up and adding it to his sausage meat. The tale proved to be false, but the story behind the story is all too real. Welcome to Macabre Storytime, where I tell my friends some of the weirdest, most brutal, spine-tingliest cases they've never heard of. We're here.
Welcome back to Macabre Storytime. I am Rhonda.
I'm Sarah. Feels a little, rehearsed. I don't know.
It wasn't rehearsed. It was just off the top of my head.
But I just felt it. I don't know.
Sorry, I feel...
Formal. It felt formal. It just felt very formal. We're not formal people.
We are not. I just wanted to make sure we got it in before we got off on our tangent. So
I got you. Yeah. Anyways.
Let's go.
Anything new with you? No?
No.
Okay. Cool. Nor with me, other than apartment hunting now.
Fun.
So there's that, yeah.
I figured since you asked about my apartment in St. Charles.
Yeah, I couldn't, because we were looking at one and I was like, is this the one that she lived at? I couldn't remember.
I mean, they may have changed names, but...
I mean, maybe, but...
I don't know.
Anyway.
I liked that one. That was my favorite apartment.
Yeah, well, I told him, since we're not buying a house, we can spend a tad bit more and get a second bedroom. We have more space, more storage space.
You have a lot of crap in that little apartment.
Yes, we do. Thank you for pointing that out, that I have a lot of crap.
I said collectively, you both have a lot of crap.
It's mostly mine. But it'd be more space to put said crap.
Yes.
And we'll be able to have a recording space at my apartment instead of here on your
just don't like
table.
my table.
That too. That, and you have a lot of people that come and go noisily and without care for the fact that we are recording. I mean, obviously, Piper would still come, I'm assuming.
Well, I can't just...
Well, I mean, there might be times where she's with Christine or Kevin takes her somewhere or whatever, whatever. But she can be out in the living room entertaining Frank, and we will be
we
in
got
the
in trouble
bedroom
with that before.
Well, yeah, because they were so loud.
Yes.
But we'll be in the bedroom, and because I want a second bedroom. Like I am 100%. I want a second bedroom, but I am a little bit like a hair open to another one bedroom with a walk-in closet that we can record in. But I really want a second bedroom.
Just get a second bedroom.
Right. I'm like, we can spend a tad bit more. Our rent's going up this year anyway. Like they've already given us the form. It's going up like $35. So it's like, and we're not buying in the house anytime soon. So just spend a little bit more and get a second bedroom. And we don't have to deal with our living room literally being full of stuff, because not only do I just have a lot of stuff, but our storage unit was broken into at some point. And so we took everything out of it for obvious reasons. Had to go somewhere. Some of it's at my parents' house in their basement. Like we had some those big like plastic totes. There's a few of those at my parents' house, but everything else had to go somewhere. So it's in our living room. There's literally just a pathway to the balcony in the living room. Like that's all we have. And I hate it. But yeah,
let's just grow up and have a little more space, Frank.
Right. Just have a little more space. And especially I like the ones where the the storage unit is like attached to the balcony or the patio.
Yeah.
So that's where you enter from, as opposed to where it is now. And it was just, I didn't like them anyway because they just look like junk storage, quote unquote storage.
My apartment, that apartment that I was telling you about, or that I lived in before here, they had a storage on the balcony, and like you didn't enter from there, but like you would go out on the balcony to use the storage,
right?
And I liked that.
Yeah, those are at the top of my list. Those and the ones where water, sewer, and trash is included. But
I think those were all included when I lived there.
Yeah,
if nothing else,
seems like more and more these days they're separating them out.
Yeah, well, but I've been here. You know, I was pregnant with Piper when I moved here.
Yeah,
so it's been a while. But
anywho's, are you ready for this bonus episode? Bonus. We are keeping with our world tour theme that we've been doing, and we're going to go back to Europe. At least for the beginning, we're going to go back to Europe. This time, we're going to our other favorite German-speaking place, Germany. So, let's get started.
It's funny, the look on my face. I can tell that the look on my face was like, Germany?
Yeah, Germany. So, let's start with who we're finding in Germany.
Okay.
Adolph Ludwig Luetgert. He was born on December 27th, 1845, in Gütersloh, Westphalia, which is now part of Germany, to parents Christian Heinrich Luetgert and Margrethe Sophia Severin.
And what time period are we in? Have you said that yet?
I did. 1845.
I missed that. I'm like, we're in Germany. That's what I remembered.
In 1845.
Okay, moving on.
Adolph was the fourth of 16 children.
That's a lot of kids.
Your face is like, oh.
I'm good with my one. I can't imagine 16.
Including a twin brother named Heinrich. He was a twin, like you. Christian Luetgert made a living by dealing in animal hides and tallow wool, as well as dabbling a bit in real estate. Now, Adolph left school at the age of 14, which was typical for that time for a tradesman's son. He worked as an apprentice in the tanning business of a man named Ferdinand Knebel. I'm pronouncing the K because it's German, because it's K-N. Okay. I think it's Knebel. Whom he lived with during his apprenticeship, which was also kind of normal. Also, he's one of 16, so I'm sure they were like, yeah, good, bye. Free up some space.
Peace be with you.
Yes. Now, after 2.5 years working here in this apprenticeship, Adolph began to travel around Germany, picking up work wherever he could find it. And at 19, he then traveled to London for 6 months. But he only stayed for 6 months because he wasn't able to find any jobs other than like scrubbing restaurant floors.
It doesn't sound like a very fun job.
I'm sure it's not. I would not want that.
And at the time, it probably wasn't with a long-handled
I'm
scrubber.
sure it was on your hands and knees, yeah. Now, around 1865, Adolph immigrated to New York City. So we're back home from our world tour.
Okay.
And he went there because he'd heard that thousands of his fellow countrymen were flocking to the U.S., that they had very little money with them, but they were able to find plenty of work.
Okay.
In his own account of his life, Adolph said, "At the age of 17, I found myself in New York with $30 in my pocket in a strange land among strange people and dazed by the sights of a great city." Okay. And you know what I didn't do? I did not do the conversion on what $30 would be today. So let me do that real quick.
Okay.
So according to this inflation calculator that I have used
on the Google,
on the Googs, $30 in 1865 would equate to about $566.27 today.
Okay.
So more than 30, but not much.
Not a lot.
That's not a lot of money to immigrate to a new country with. And that's coming from someone who immigrated to a new country. I had more than $500, shockingly. But, so has nary a penny in his pocket, but he's coming to this big city to get some work. Now, after a short time in New York City, he continued on to Quincy, Illinois, to join friends of his eldest brother who were living there.
It's weird how people immigrate to New York and then end up in the Midwest.
I also find that weird. Because apparently, and I don't know if this has changed since I read this, but once upon a time I read that St. Louis has the biggest Bosnian population in the world outside of Bosnia. And I was like, that just seems random to me.
It is. It's like, what is the draw to St. Louis?
Nothing against them.
No,
Welcome.
nothing. Yeah, welcome to St. Louis.
Bring your delicious food with you. But like, I'm just saying, like, we're the oddballs in this situation, not you. Why, of all places, why here? Not that it's not a good place, but like, why? It's just, it seems so random.
Right. And
like, did you throw a dart at a map and like a few of you came and then the rest of you were like, well, there's already some Bosnians there. We'll just go there.
We'll just, go here. Yeah, but it's like people immigrate like to New York. Like you hear this story over and over again. People immigrate to New York and then, a couple years later they're in the Midwest.
Right.
And
Belle Gunnis did the same thing.
Exactly. That's one of the things I was going to say is Belle Gunnis. She ended up in Indiana.
Went to Chicago and then to Indiana.
And
my own family did the same thing. Both sides of my dad's family are from Ukraine. Wound up in St. Louis. One side, my mom's side, German. Wound up in Chicago.
Yeah, it's just weird.
And then branched downwards to St. Louis. Like, it's just...
What's the draw to St. Louis? Yes, I was born here. I like it. I like this area.
Right.
But to come from another country and say, hey, I have this whole country at my beck and call, I'm going to end up in the middle.
Not only that, but I would equate it to, I want to move to England and I'm not going to go to London. I'm going to go to, I don't know. Let me hold on. Google map. Right. So I want to move to England, but I don't want to live in London. I don't want to live in like Manchester or, one of these big cities. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move to this little town here called Stoke-on-Trent. That's where I'm going to go.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot for that one. It's just, that's not what, normally if you're moving to England, you're going to London, maybe Manchester, maybe Birmingham, maybe, what's that one on the south coast? Maybe Liverpool, maybe Southampton, like some things that are a little more like heard of.
Yes.
Not just like a thing in the middle where it's just a place that I'm sure is lovely, but it's not what you think of when you're like, I want to move to England.
Right. I mean, I guess this is similar to us saying we want to move to Austria, but not Vienna.
But Salzburg isn't nothing.
It's not unknown, no, but it's a slower paced city.
It is slower paced, but it's still very well known city.
It is.
Stoke-on-Trent, not a well known city. No offense to you,
Stoke-on-Trent residents.
Stoke-on-Trenters.
I just said residents.
Yeah, so. I don't know what you would call that. Like we're St. Louisans. I don't know what you would call us. We're just gonna stick with resident. Anyways, yes, I agree with you on that. It always seems very random.
Yes.
To wind up in of all places. And, at the time, this is obviously like just after Civil War time. Mm-hmm. It's not like today.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. But maybe it just costs less to live there. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it was probably not much here.
Oh, I'm sure. And by here, she means Quincy, Illinois, where he wound up.
Yes. The Midwest city where he ended up.
But he wasn't there forever because he was only there for 4 months before he wound up in Chicago in search of a tanning job. So he did make his way to another large city. He wound up in Quincy because he knew people that were there. He wasn't just like, this seems like a nice place.
Right.
So there was a connection.
I get that, but why did them people?
Okay.
Why did those people end up there?
I don't know. Maybe they knew someone there. Maybe it's just a long chain of people, and that's how it happens. The next thing you know,
they all run to Quincy, Illinois.
It's entirely German. I don't know.
I mean, Illinois is pretty German.
Yeah. I mean,
Belleville's a German city.
Yeah. Even though you say it like Bubba. There's that restaurant in Muscuda that my dad's German group used to always go to. Oh, what was it called?
There's a German restaurant in Belleville now.
Well, there's this like particular one in Muscuda that they would always go to. The schnitzel's great, and the German chocolate cake is real German chocolate cake, which means it doesn't have that fucking coconut on it.
Tell us how you really feel about
because
coconut.
Real German chocolate cake doesn't have coconut. You can take it and you can just shove it up all your asses that like coconut because it's gross. Worst thing ever created.
I want the German chocolate cake without the coconut.
Yeah, that's real German chocolate cake.
Yes, I know.
Not this monstrosity that Americans have made with coconut. Anyway, so he moves to Chicago, searching for a tanning job. And he found a job at Union Hide and Leather Company. But the work wasn't very steady, so he would take other random jobs to support himself. He bounced around to a few other tanneries as well. He didn't just stay with the one, until he managed somehow to save $4,000. And with that $4,000, he decided to start his own business.
Wow.
Wonderful.
$4,000, start your own business.
I know, right? Like, can we make that a thing today?
Right.
So he initially sold liquor. That was his initial job. Before he decided in 1879 that he wanted to start his own sausage company.
It's an interesting transition.
It is. But sausage is delicious, so I'm here for it.
I'm not liking where my brain just went in this whole thing, but you know.
Where did your brain go?
We're talking about this guy, so he may be a murderer and he's a sausage maker. Not good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Moving along.
Just going to look out the window and wonder if that dog that lives catty corner behind you is coming back out.
Nope.
Anyway, so this sausage company that he opened, A.L. Luetgert Sausage Company.
Yes.
It led Adolph to be one of Chicago's leading sausage...
I can't help it. It just happens.
You done? You done breathing?
For now.
It led Adolph to be one of Chicago's leading sausage manufacturers of the late 19th century.
Okay.
He was doing the damn thing with the sausage. That sounded really bad, the way I said that. But
yes, it did.
You know what I meant.
He's making the verst.
He is. Making the American verst.
Yes.
Not the
German.
Which is also delicious. Yes. Some would say more delicious. I love them both. I can't decide. I once, in Austria, had a wild boar bratwurst. It was very good. Yeah, it was good. Anyway, back from the sausage. On April 13th, 1872, Adolph married his first wife, Caroline Rupke, in Chicago.
Okay.
They had two sons. First was Max. He was born in January of 1873, but he died in 1875. And then they had Arnold in 1875. And Caroline, she died on November 17th, 1877. Now, soon after this, Adolph married his second wife, Louisa Bicknies. And you're probably wondering, soon? How soon? It was very soon. Because they were married on January 18th of 1878. So literally 2 months.
He didn't waste any time.
He did not. And, I understand it was a different time. And people did that.
Mainly the women, not the men.
Well, no, men did it too, especially if they had children. Because they want someone to take care of them.
Yeah,
that's not them.
That's true. They didn't take care of them.
Right. And honestly, also to take care of themselves and their homes. That's what the wives were for. So, 2 months later, he married Louisa, and they had 4 more children. So they had Louisa, who was born August of 1880, but died July 1881. Louis, born June of 1885. He passed away in March of 1960. Next was Elsie, who was born July 1888 and died in August of 1889. And finally, Elmer, who was born in March of 1892 and died July of 1976.
So two survived to adulthood.
Yes, so 2 of Louisa's 4 children survived to adulthood, yes. Now, Louisa Bicknies was born, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, hopefully, but whatever. She was born on January 12th, 1855 in Landesbergen, Hanover, Germany. So northern Germany, kind of Midwestern, if you will.
Midwestern Germany.
Of northern Germany. Her parents were Kotner Diedrich Bicknies and Wilhelmina Heidemann. Super German names. And she had 5 siblings: Frederick, Wilhelmina, Ludwig, Heinrich, and Diedrich. When she was 17, Louisa immigrated to the U.S. via New York with her 15-year-old brother, Diedrich.
Okay.
So she has made the same journey with her brother. Now, Adolph and Louisa may have been raking in the dough once the sausage business got off the ground, but the couple was actually quite thrifty. Outsiders assumed the Luetgerts, owners of not only the sausage factory that sent millions of pounds of sausage all across the country, but also of the best house in the neighborhood, were millionaires. They must be, right?
Right.
In actuality, Adolph, much to his wife's chagrin, put everything he made back into the business.
Okay.
Yeah. And though the couple employed domestic servants, Louisa continued to work around the house from morning till night. No one who knew the couple envied her life, even though they had all this money coming in.
Apparently they didn't use any of it.
They did not, on anything but the business. The couple spent little and saved what they could to make the business prosperous, which is great to a point.
Right.
Like, you should still, I'm not saying you should, like, wipe your ass with $100 bills.
Right.
But you can still, like, live a comfortable life and have a prosperous business.
Mm-hmm. Use a little bit to, like, buy a nice, dinner or something.
At the very least, diversify.
Diversify with your money.
Right. And he did not want to do that. So in addition to putting all of his earnings back into the business, Adolph also borrowed heavily to build his dream factory. And Louisa took any chance she could to scold him on this and tell him to put half of their savings in other investments instead of just the factory. But he wouldn't listen. He wouldn't diversify.
She wanted to diversify.
She wanted to diversify. She was smart. In the end, with his business highly leveraged and hard times coming in the form of the Panic of 1896, the Luetgerts didn't have any money.
Well,
yeah, that was a problem.
Small one.
Yeah, a little bit. The factory wound up closing in February of 1897 because of this financial panic, and the debtors came calling. But again, they didn't have any money.
Can't pay with what you don't have.
Because it was all in the factory. And Louisa, she never failed to remind her husband that he should have listened to her advice. Should have diversified. If he had, they wouldn't be in dire financial straits. Now, on May 1st of 1897, Louisa Luetgert was reported missing.
Uh-oh.
Big uh-oh. Now, Adolph told his children that she had gone to visit her sister the previous night, and she hadn't returned. After a few days, Louisa's brother Diedrich went to the police to report his sister's disappearance. And when the police came knocking, Adolph told them his wife ran away with another man. The classic line from husbands who kill their wives. She ran off with another man.
I mean, at least keep your story straight.
Right.
The same story you give the kids, give to the police. But, whatever.
I thought that as well. The only thing I could, the whole devil's advocate thing. Mm-hmm. The only thing I could say assuming that he's innocent, is that he didn't want to tell his children your mother ran off with another man. Like,
Right. Well,
I can see that being the case. Like,
yes.
He has an argument he can make there to the police.
But how
who
old
are
were
like,
the kids at this time?
Not very old. Let's see. It's 1897. Louis was 12 and Elmer was 5.
I can understand the 5-year-old, but the 12-year-old.
Well, even a 12-year-old, you wouldn't want to tell them your mother abandoned us.
No, but they're going to be a little more understanding than the 5-year-old.
Maybe, but I still wouldn't want to tell my child that.
I wouldn't. So I would never want to tell my child that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he has an argument he can make to the police if they were to be like, well, you told your kids this and you're telling us this. What's the deal? He could be, like, well, I don't want to tell my kids that she abandoned us for another man. Mm-hmm. But again, that is the classic line of a man who has killed his wife.
Yes.
She ran off with another man. Now, during the investigation, police learned that there was a history of domestic violence in the Luetgert marriage. Their marriage was one of domesticity, not happiness. It was not a love match. They got married to have a spouse to take care of XYZ. Mm-hmm. That's all it was. Now, according to at least one source, lingering financial difficulties stemming from this panic of 1896 led Adolph to court a rich widow whom he allegedly planned to marry after he got rid of his wife. That was just according to a source. Just gonna say it.
What source?
A source. Now, police discovered that on the night of May 1st, both Adolph and Louisa were seen entering the Luetgert sausage factory around 10:30 p.m. Don't look at me like that. A watchman for the factory confirmed this, stating that Adolph had given him an errand to run, and then he said that he could take the rest of the night off.
Of course, he didn't want to around.
Nothing suspicious about that.
Nothing. I got this. You can hit that off.
It's fine.
I'll still pay you.
I'll be here. It's fine. We don't need a watchman because I'm here.
I have lots to say.
Yes. Say your lots.
You already know what I'm going to say. Sausage factory, missing wife. Get rid of the watchman. She never comes out. Well, alive.
Right. So police, they did discover some bills that Adolph had documenting the purchase of some arsenic and some potash, which was a potassium component used as fertilizer. And he apparently bought this like the day before. It's just saying. I'm not making any connections. I'm just saying.
No connections whatsoever.
So the police became convinced that Adolph Luetgert murdered his wife, boiled her in lye, and disposed of her remains by burning them in a factory furnace.
Mm-hmm.
They searched the furnace, and they did find some burned human remains. Under a vat in the basement of the factory, partly dissolved fragments of human teeth were found. And inside said vat, 2 rings belonging to Louisa, one of which had her initials on it, LL, were found in a solution of potash, which was allegedly used to dissolve her remains. Now, I will say, again, devil's advocating here, it is a sausage factory, and sausage, as we all know, is made from animals. So it wouldn't be the craziest thing to have bone fragments in the factory somewhere. Even teeth. Not human, but just teeth in general. Because it's made from animal. Things happen.
Okay.
But they were human teeth. And as I'm about to tell you, human bone. So the bone fragments found in the factory were identified by a forensic anthropologist as being metatarsal bones, which are the bones like in your foot, toe phalanx, so toe bones, and the head of a rib. This would be one of the first times in, like, criminal justice history that forensic analysis was used as evidence in a murder trial.
In a sausage factory.
Yes, because they have this forensic anthropologist, which I didn't know was a thing at this point in time, but it is apparently, that is like, yes, this is a metatarsal bone. This is a toe bone. That's a rib.
Human, not animal.
Correct. Human of those things. It's not, I don't know, it's not a pig or whatever, pork sausage, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, so Adolph claimed his innocence. I'm sorry, what was that? What did you say?
Of course.
Okay. Now, though he claimed his innocence, he was arrested on May 17th, 1897. So, I mean, they were pretty quick on it. It's only been just over 2 weeks. And then he was sent to trial. Adolph Luetgert's first trial began in August of 1897.
First.
I don't know why you chuckled when I said that. Yes, his first trial. What's the problem?
There's a reason why you said first, and a reason why I repeated first.
In that violent tone of yours?
Yes. Anyway, first trial.
First trial, August 1897, with Judge Richard Tuthill presiding. He was defended by William Vincent and prosecuted by State's Attorney Charles S. Deneen, who was later governor of Illinois and a U.S. senator.
Ooh, fancy.
So he's a big guy in the picture.
He's a big wig.
Sure. The prosecution presented the bone fragments and the jewelry belonging to Louisa as their main evidence, but the defense argued that, well, Louisa, she left her house on her own free will that night that she disappeared.
Okay.
That doesn't mean she was...
Jump in a thing of lie and...
I mean, you could. I don't see why you would.
Right. And jump in the freaking oven.
Yeah.
Whatever thing.
That doesn't mean you did all the other stuff of your own free will.
Right. Yeah, I left my house. Sue me? What do you want me to do about it?
I left my house with my husband. Uh-huh.
And went to the factory that we own.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's the problem here?
Uh-huh. If only you could see my face. They also cited multiple claims from around the country. Yes, rolling your eyes, as I also do whenever this happens, claiming that Louisa Luetgert had been seen since her alleged murder. Of course. Uh-huh, yeah. I roll. It just drives me crazy, the amount of people who are like, yeah, I saw him. Mm-hmm. Sure you did.
Because there's not, like, multiple people that look similar.
Right. Adolph appeared quite confident, honestly. What?
Just imagine, like, she's going into this factory to, like, I don't know, stage her disappearance and her murder. She, like, pulled out a tooth and threw it in and threw rings in and,
Here,
all this elaborate...
Let me pull this metatarsal bone out of my foot.
Yeah. Cut off my toe. This is an elaborate scheme to, like, disappear from my husband.
Yeah. But she left the house with her husband.
Right.
He went in with her.
Right.
She's not alone.
That's just the image in my head. Like, she's trying to, like, show that she's, running away or whatever. Like, this is my self.
People have done crazier things. People have, like, cut off their own fingers to make it look like such and such has happened.
This is my, attempt to, make people think I'm dead.
Yeah.
So
fake her own death and run off.
Why
do whatever?
Why did that take so long for me to figure out how to say? And you're like, fake phone death. I'm like,
I don't know. I even brought you coffee today.
I know, and my brain is apparently not working. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, that was her attempt at faking her own death, and she cut off her toe bone and threw her jewelry and and her teeth and all this stuff. And because I'm gonna end up in all over the country, like walking around.
The metatarsal bone, it's not a toe.
I know, it's part of the actual foot.
It's in your foot. So she would have had to, like, carve into her foot and pluck out a bone.
Right.
for that to be the case.
Right. But yet she's walking around,
Or, I mean,
Cincinnati
obviously,
or whatever.
because there's no DNA at the time, like someone else's metatarsal bone. But still, like, that's not just an easy thing to get to.
Right.
You got to work for it. So, yeah. Now, Adolph appeared quite confident that he would be found not guilty, but the jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict, resulting in a hung jury.
Of course.
While awaiting his second trial, Adolph wrote an article that was published in the St. Louis Republic on October 24th of 1897. In it, he wrote, and I've just picked out one little thing because it is very long and very woe is me. He wrote,
Can imagine.
Yeah, I have lost my liberty. I have lost my reputation. I have lost my property. I have lost my wife. Can it be possible that I will lose my life? And this is just me talking. I find it interesting from a psychological perspective.
That wife is the last thing he lists?
Yes. That he mentioned all these other things and then was like, oh, that too. I also now no longer have a wife.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I've lost all this stuff. Oh yeah, I guess I lost her too.
My liberty, my reputation, my things, and my wife. That is also gone. But
oh yeah, her too.
Yeah. But he was still confident in this letter that he would be acquitted, even though he lamented that he would forever be known as the sausage maker that killed his wife, even though he's going to be acquitted. Like, people are going to think that anyway.
I mean,
yeah. He compared this one really, this one took the cake for me.
Oh, good Lord.
Buckle up. He compared the treatment of prisoners in America, namely himself, I'm sure, to what he read about how prisoners were treated in Russia.
Yeah, not quite the same.
I'm not saying we have the best prison system in the world, because we don't.
No, we don't.
I'm not saying it's a great place to be.
No, that's not the point. It's not supposed to be a good place.
Right. You're not supposed to be having fun. However, what I do know about Russia and how they treat prisoners, I don't think that's true, sir.
I don't either.
I don't think you can compare the two on like an equal plane.
Even in the 1800s, which we've both been to Missouri State Penitentiary, which is still nicknamed the bloodiest 47 acres in Missouri. Or is it the country? I think it's the country.
I think in the country.
We both learned from those visits that it wasn't a good place to live.
No.
And it got shut down because of the fact that they had 8 people to a cell when it was designed for 2.
Very overcrowded, yes.
Right. And woe is you.
Yeah.
Because you don't think that you deserve to be in jail and you're going to say that you're treated worse than people in Russia?
Yeah, and even though this was obviously before like Soviet times,
yes.
I still I don't think it was great.
No.
I don't think it was great. You're not being sent to Siberia. So,
I think you're a little better off.
A little bit. And I put in here in parentheses next to this, I wrote big victim energy.
Yeah.
Because that's what this whole thing was. Like, it was painful to read because it was just like all about what he's going through and what he has been through and how this is affecting him and yada, yada, yada. Like, nothing about my poor wife is missing. My poor children now no longer have a mother and their fathers being accused of this heinous thing that,
of course,
like, none of that.
Everything is about him.
Exactly. It was very big. I am a victim.
The one thing when you said he was talking about how he was comparing himself and his, justice to whatever, when you were saying this is where they lost me, I swore you were going to say Holocaust. And I'm like, please don't say this, because I've heard that before. Like, people like saying, you know, I might as well be in the Holocaust or something. Because I'm like, do not compare yourself to that, because there is no comparison to that.
I'm sure had the Holocaust have already taken place, he might have.
Yes, true. That it had not.
It had not happened yet.
But yes.
But I can imagine if this were post-Holocaust times,
It probably would have.
He would have been like, it's like I'm in a concentration camp here. Like, gonna throw me in the gas chamber next? Mm-hmm. Like, I can 100% see him playing that type of victim role.
Yeah.
Now, the case was retried in January of 1898. And the prosecution, this time, they used an anthropologist from the Field Columbian Museum, which we have been to many times, as an expert witness to prove that the bones found in the meat grinder and the furnace were human. These are not pig bones, cow bones, whatever other bones of whatever other animal might be used for sausage making. None of that. These are human bones. And this time, the jury reached a unanimous guilty verdict. Adolph Luetgert was sentenced to life in prison on February 9th, 1898. But just 18 months later, on July 7th, 1899, he was found dead in his cell at the Illinois State Penitentiary in Joliet. His cause of death was fatty degenerative heart disease.
So he died of natural causes.
Yes, he did.
That sucks.
Sucks for you. It's like there's this story that I once saw on Forensic Files, and this guy killed his wife, and come to find out she had like terminal cancer, but didn't know it. And she would have been dead within probably like 6 months anyway. But now he's in jail for the rest of his life because he killed her. Like, well. But anyways. In addition to being one of the first cases to have like forensic evidence presented at trial, it was also one of the first cases in U.S. history to be widely covered by the media. Local newspapers reported on it daily during the trials, and it is often credited as being the spark that led to media coverage of crime being as widespread as it is today. Yeah. And just some fun fact for you. The factory still stands on the south side of the 1700 block of West Diversey Parkway. We can go see it next time we're in Chicago. It has, though, been converted into condos.
Oh, when I come to my apartment or my condo, it used to be, you know, this old sausage factory.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're expecting what I'm about to say. It is obviously said that the building is haunted by the ghost of Louisa Luetgert.
Take our Ouija board with us.
Yes. I don't have one, but we can get one.
I mean, they're available at Target.
Yes, they are. The devil, what would you call it? The devil communication device is available at Target. So yeah, that is the sausage factory murder of Louisa Luetgert.
Well, I swear that he sold sausage made with his wife's.
It was a rumor. Believe me. It's an obvious connection to make.
I mean, I made that connection as soon as you said sausage.
Yeah. As soon as the words sausage factory came out of my mouth, you were like,
It's like, these never end well.
Yeah, no. And it was, like I said, it was a rumor that was spread. Like, people believed this, but he didn't.
Just like Belgunnis is like, as soon as you said pig farm, I'm like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, pig farm, you were like, okay, how many people is she feeding to the pigs? Like, what's going to happen?
I mean, I don't know how well known it is, but it's pretty, it's pretty well known that pigs will get rid of anything.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it's
especially hogs.
It's pretty well known. You want to get rid of a body, you feed it to a hog.
Right.
Just throw it in a hog pen and they'll take care of it.
Bones, everything.
Yeah, the whole, like, literally everything. So yeah, but he did not.
He did not give it to a pig.
He did not
put it in his sausage.
He didn't give it to a pig. Didn't put it in the sausage. Just burned it.
Yeah, I think he put it in the sausage.
You still think that?
I do. Yes.
I don't. I believe that she was just whatever was left after like boiling her in lye or whatever, potash, whatever it was, that just was everything was burned and tried to get rid of as much as possible. So, yeah. So you think she was putting the sausage?
I do.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I still like sausage. Even though I know what the casing is made out of.
Yes.
I still love sausage.
I mean, I just had one earlier.
You can say with absolute certainty that you have eaten sheep intestines.
I have.
Because you eat sausage.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that. Mm-hmm. But sausage is delicious.
It is. I mean, I'm kind of picky about my sausage. Like, I don't really like breakfast sausage, like the
that's just weird
that you buy in a tube. I don't like that. Weird. I don't like some of the seasonings that's in it. But like meat stick sausage and stuff that's already encased, I like that.
Okay.
And I don't like sausage pizza because of Friday the 13th. No, not Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Nightmare on Elm Street?
It's been a while. I have, yes, many times.
Then I think it was the fourth movie. Like there was a pizza and it was sausage pizza and all the sausages were people's heads.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I won't eat sausage pizza.
That's a movie, right?
I do.
Okay, just making sure.
But as we were in the 80s, we grew up with movies we shouldn't have been watching. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the movies that has stuck with me, that has gone on to my life, that, has affected it. And I won't eat sausage pizza because of it.
Well, that's okay, because I will eat all the sausage pizza.
You can have all the sausage pizza. I will eat the pepperoni.
And I'll have that too. And I will also eat all the breakfast sausage for you.
Yes.
Got some in my fridge right now.
I like the brown and serve sausage that tastes like maple. Those ones I like. But I'm very picky about my sausage.
I want the sausage lovers out there that are listening to get back with me. Are you on board with me saying that patties are better than links? Because I am a firm believer that patties are better than links.
I prefer bacon over sausage, but I do.
But we're having a sausage discussion. Bacon is not a sausage.
No, it is not. But I do like the little breakfast, ready to serve brown and serve sausage links.
I'm not saying they're not good. I'm just saying patties are better than links.
Well,
if I had a
your
choice,
prerogative.
If you were like, would you like these sausage patties or these sausage links? I would say I would like those sausage patties, please.
And you can have them.
I will. Anyway.
Thanks for joining us for our bonus episode.
Yes, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Macabre Storytime. This bonus episode, as we said. To stay in the know on all things macabre, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Macabre Storytime. Or you can email us at macabrestorytime@gmail.com.
And once again, thanks for listening. And until next time...
Just pay attention to where your sausage comes from. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
Be cautious if your husband is a sausage maker.
Yeah, if you're just in a marriage of convenience or necessity, and your husband's like, "Hey, let's go to our sausage factory at 10:30 at night," just say no.
Ask questions.
Be like, nah. Okay. And especially once he sends the guard away.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go.
I would say, once he sends the guard away, I'd be like, "Hey, excuse me, guard, I'm coming with you."
Yeah, you think she knew at that point? She was like, "Uh-oh."
She was probably not in the room when he sent him away. She was probably somewhere else.
Maybe.
I mean, that was pretty ballsy of him to be like, "Hey, you just go on ahead,
run this errand for me first." This is a legitimate thing. Run this errand. And then, you know what? Take the rest of the night off. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who is a take the rest of the night off kind of guy.
Right. He's the I'm paying you to do a job and you're going to do it.
That's how he strikes me as.
Yes.
But yeah. So that's that.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.